Castlevania Season 1 was released on Netflix and is directed by Sam Dietz and written by the legendary Warren Ellis. I am not a player of these games. I have a very good friend who is and loves them, and from what I've researched and what he's told me, this is a game that's basically set on the world of Castlevania 3. Don't know how that correlates to Castlevania 1 or 2, but I will tell you that it isn't exactly based on Castlevania 3. Basically what Season 1 is about Dracula meeting a human woman who goes into his castle, his very cool castle might I add, and she wants to advance science. She wants to advance her knowledge and maybe help the world and humanity through it. Dracula starts to like her, he starts to love her, and then we move a few years ahead, and apparently they fell in love, they got married, and now this woman is being burned on the stake because people believe she is a witch. There are also a few groups. There are the speakers, which are made up basically of storytellers and maybe wizards, and there's also the church, who are basically the dickheads of the story. And in Season 1, our main hero is Trevor Belmont of the House Belmont, played by Richard Armitage. He's got a lot of Aragorn aspects to him, and I really like this character. He's a drunkard, he is not perfect, he doesn't care, he nonchalantly tells people to go fuck themselves, even to the church and bishops and archbishops. This guy is, at first, a very non-rootable character. It's hard to root for this guy. But he starts to grow on you because you see that he has a consciousness. He knows right from wrong. And he is a good guy at heart from an honorable family who were excommunicated. But I gotta tell you, the main star of this show is not Richard Armitage or his character Trevor Belmont, is not Warren Ellis, as hard as that is to believe. It is the animation. The animation in this show is fantastic. In many ways, it reminds me of Fate Stay Night and Limited Blade Works, not only because of the quality of animation and how well the cell shades blend with CGI, classic animation and CGI mixed together, and it is seamless, but also the very colors used. There are not a lot of bright colors on this show, but the colors used are so impactful, and even some visual keys remind me a lot of Fate Stay Night Unlimited Blade Works. And the voice work is incredible as well. Not only that, but the characters, they feel so alive, they feel so real, because despite many of them not having many scenes on screen, even Dracula is not on screen much. He is incredible. Look, I will forever defend this movie to my life. I will even defend this movie till the end of my life. This is the coolest Dracula, the most badass Dracula, the most impactful Dracula I have seen on screen, big or small, in the past years. You can see that this guy has a monster inside him, but he has class. He has a lot of levels to him, and the little time he is on screen, he is fearsome. And there is stuff that he does in this series that is just pure badassity. And in terms of his plans, at first I thought it was stupid because it was, oh, I'm going to wait a year to kill you all and punish you for killing my wife, ha ha ha. But then you understand that he needs a year to gather enough energy to assemble his demon army. And once he does, this show gets heavy on the horror. I really like how this show handles the horror because it doesn't hold back its punches. He has a lot of heavy imagery in terms of horror, a lot of gory stuff, and a lot of scary stuff. There are lots of imagery on churches and whatnot, and whenever you get religious symbolism in series or in movies, you always have that ounce of hope whenever you get Jesus on screen and those crystallized windows and Jesus on there and a halo above his head, and it's like, oh my god, Jesus is gonna save us. But this show doesn't do that. This show shows you Jesus and you're like, yeah, Jesus is not gonna do nothing. He's not gonna mess with Dracula. Smart guy, that Jesus. Love the horror, love the action, love the characters, the animation is stupendous. But this show feels too much like setup. So much that the pacing of this show is the biggest problem. Apart from the last bit of the first episode and the final episode for the most part of it, maybe the first 5 minutes are not so much, this show is really slow. It's really taking its time. And it almost feels like they wanted to make a movie prequel to the series because Season 2 is already announced and it's going to have more episodes. And it really feels like this show, these 4 episodes, yes, Season 1 is only 4 episodes, it's building up to what we really want to see. And a lot of times it also feels like it's telling you a lot. For instance, Dracula and his wife, they meet, fade to black, she's being burned at the stake. And apparently he loves her, and apparently they got married, and apparently come the ending of the first season, they got a son who believes in his mother's beliefs. That's my main issue. Not only the pacing, but the fact that they tell you a lot of stuff they don't show you a lot of stuff. I do believe Season 2 is going to be better in those aspects. It has more episodes, it has a true story to go on to, but it really felt like we were building up to that season. They were thinking about, we want this season to be great, so let's make this one to explain how we get there. Also, this might feel really nitpicky, but the score of this series is very bland. I like the type of orchestral music that is here, but at some point, whenever a scene is going on, an action scene or a dialogue scene is going on, and then the music comes in, and you kind of like the music, but then the music doesn't progress with the scene. One scene that stands out for me in that aspect is when Belmont is running away from the villagers and from the church, and he's being attacked by villagers and priests all over the roofs and all over the streets and whatnot, and he's trying to hide. And the music starts going at a fast pace, and you're like, alright, I'm feeling adrenaline, let's go. But then the scene changes and evolves and progresses, slows down and slows back up. But the music itself stays the same, and I really found that weird. I do have to say, I do love the last scene in the show when Alucard fights Trevor. The fight scene is amazing, the meaning behind it all is amazing, and I love the last shot of the series, but again, it feels too setup. But the fight within itself, the way these two characters already have immense chemistry, even with the show being animation, is spectacular, and I gotta congratulate the writers and directors and the animators for all that, as well as the actors. But I will not lie to you, this is a very good show, very enjoyable, it's very fast, but it does feel like it was constructed more as one prequel movie, which actually in ways reminds me of what I've heard they want to do with the Dark Tower movie and then make it a series, but they wanted to do a series and now they're making a movie. It's all very messy. Castlevania, however, is not that type of a mess. It does feel too much like a setup. That's the main issue. But it is interesting. It makes me look forward to the future and be interested in it. And it's got great characters, stellar animation, and a great voice cast. A good villain and a good hero. And I will say that Castlevania Season 1 is a martini. It is a good time, anytime. What did you think of Castlevania, my beautiful Iggies? Have you played the games? Have you not? Let me know what you want to see in Season 2, whether you play the games or not, and what is your favorite Castlevania game? Thank you so much for watching, my beautiful Iggies. You guys are the freaking best. I love you all so, so much. Tomorrow I have a review for Baywatch. On Wednesday, a review for War for the Planet of the Apes. And then on Friday, I will have a channel updates video because I'm going to London and Paris next week. So until then, you stay beautiful, you stay geeky, and if you haven't done so yet, click the subscribe button and the bell so we can be geeky united!